Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Apoorv Malik, and I will be the host of today's webinar on behalf of TNV Academy. Now it's time for me to introduce all of you to our guest speaker. For today's webinar, we are glad to have Mr. Ajay Bajpai with us as the guest speaker. The topic with which he is here today with all of us is non-conformity and report writing as per clause 9.2 of ISO Management System Standards. Our distinguished speaker, Mr. Ajay Bajpai, has done his bachelor's in engineering in metallurgy stream. He is also a lead auditor in ISO 9001, 14001, 45001, 37001, 22000, 27001, 13485, 22301, and 50001 standards, respectively. He has an industrial experience of around 15 plus years in field of implementation of management system standards and around 25 plus years in field of auditing and training. He has been imparting training to a number of organizations, entrepreneurs, and individuals on various topics related to ISO terminologies and how ISO standards are implemented within organizations. It was just a brief introduction of our guest speaker today. And now, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Mr. Ajay Bajpai. I may request Mr. Ajay Bajpai now to please take over and start the webinar.
Thank you, Apoorv, and the team who has joined this webinar. I was discussing before the webinar what is happening globally with respect to ISO today. So, a very important activity is going on in Dubai, in UAE. That is called the ISO annual meeting. It is from 19th to 23rd of this month and may continue thereafter also, depending upon the participant to ISO committees and ISO teams and the development of the standards. All those big teams are meeting once in a year. They could not do it very effectively in past because of the COVID thing, but this time participation is very huge and discussions are on there. One can go to the sites and start seeing the webinars going on there, can view the discussions, minutes of meetings are shared there. If you wish, you can register yourself there and you will be shared with what is happening in the ISO globally today. So that's a very important activity I thought I will share with you. Now, what we are discussing today is NC discussions part 3. In part 1 and part 2 discussion, which we have done in last 2 weeks, we have discussed what are non-conformities, the definitions of non-conformities, how one can find out non-conformities, what is the importance of non-conformities, and I have been telling it in last seminars also that language is not important. What is important is the material, the matter which we are bringing to the site of report when report format is being filled. So that is the job of auditor. Anybody and everybody cannot fill this NC report. There are different terminology used by different certification bodies and boards. We call it AFAR, NC. Somebody may say it CAR, somebody will say it concern, somebody will say NC report, somebody will say ATR, action taken reports, and so on. But the crux of the matter is that the trained and qualified auditors who are also getting the knowledge and experience by being working as observer auditors, under training auditors, they are also being witness, and then they are given the authority and responsibility to draft this report. New auditors will only draft the report. It is the lead auditor who will finally write it into this kind of a report format. The name can be XYZ, but the basic concept remains the same. It is very important to see each and every point, each and every column of this report. Then only we can understand what to write. I will go very slow on this because this is one of the very important activity for the global certification body, global boards, global other associations, other industry members who are maybe going for certification or may not be going for certification, but they need to understand this NC thing, NC report writing effectively to bring improvement into their management system by following the path of PDCA, plan, do, check and act. So this is the heading. This is the job of auditor. Okay, so auditor is finding out something. So it is written auditor finding action report. Somebody just like that cannot go and start writing here if he is not an auditor. We don't appreciate that. Then comes first thing is number one. We can say it is very simple to write number one or number two, but when an organization is going into implementation direction after 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, if these numbers are not correct, there is a hell lot of confusion. Which audit cycle? First internal audit, second internal audit, third internal audit, first surveillance audit, second, third surveillance audit, 9th year first surveillance audits and all. So with respect to that, this number is very, very important. And when you are getting into data analysis, and if you do not have the number under control, you are very easily confused. I have seen many organizations getting into a status of confusion. Number one, when we are into a third party audit situation, they already have pressure of whether they will be certified or not, whether they will be recommended or not, when they will be recommended and so on. So under that process and pressure, they will mix the NC report formats, and something which was done 1 year back will come on to top of the report and they will try to show us. Then we'll say, sir, this is the last year's report. Please show us the report of last audit which we have done in the month of June 2022. Do not show me the May 21 audit because I may ask for it, but right now I am asking for the latest audit which we have done. So for that extent and to that matter of extent, this number is very, very important. Then comes the dates. Many auditors in internal audit, external audit, they think this is something to be filled by a clerk. This is a clerical operation, but this is important as a part of their responsibility. The day when the audit is done, when the NCR was raised, when the NCR form was filled, this is indicating a date from 34/22 to 1/5/22. This is the cycle I have tried to show here. But a particular day, when a particular audit format is filled, auditors are supposed to write that particular date because that has got a relevance. On that particular date, on that particular moment of time, this was noticed as a non-conformity. Okay, so it is important to indicate that correct date, correct month, and correct year. As I said earlier, many auditing under the pressure will get this thing into a mixing fixing kind of a situation. Dates are mixed, months are mixed, year are mixed, and then results are also mixed. You do not get the results which you want. You want good results out of a audit, value added results out of the audit, so that does not happen as a requirement and as a desired point. Then comes company, name of the company. When we are going for third party audit or second party audit, we try to write the name of the company. Okay, it is important that a non-conformity is identified with respect to a company in case of third party and second party audit. Also equally important is process to identify. This process is manufacturing or stores. For example, here the process is communication and company is plywood manufacturing, ABC plywood manufacturing company name. See, all these things are highly confidential, so we do not name the company into any of our training discussions, any of our auditing situation, because we go by strictly by secrecy and confidentiality clauses. Because the moment auditor feels my things may go out, he will not share what he should share so that the effective audit can be done. Equally important is to identify the department and clause. In case of large organization, this particular column, we can always enhance the size. We can add the lines here depending upon the situation we are, because nothing in this globe or in earth is 100% final with respect to ISO 9000 or ISO management system audit. Things keeps on changing. Everything is a draft always. As you go on, you keep on confirming it. You keep on making it a firm or document data worth control document, but that also will be revised after 6 months, after 1 year. So that is how an active document data control will function. Once you do that, it is also equally important to identify the year of the standard when we write the standard. Many auditors who are in the training, they forget, they will say, sir, 9,000 audit is there. It's okay. 14,001 audit is there. But what about the year of the standard? So we say name of the standard and year of issue is equally important, because after 9 years, when you are going for third term of certification, the standard version would have changed. So again, the report will get mixed and you will not be able to do what you want to really do into the internal or external audit. Then again, categorization. What is the category? These things I have explained to you earlier. What is major, minor? I have explained to you in details. But anytime we can further discuss it, there's absolutely no problem. You can ask the questions when you get time after the webinar. So when we are able to draft or finalize this report, it is equally important to say whether it is major or minor. Then what is the stage of the audit? Document review audit, stage 1 audit, stage 2 audit. Sometimes it may be a second party audit, or if it is a internal audit, so internal audit round July of 2021 or 2022, whatever. So filling of this information is as good as conduct of the audit. Our auditors and into training and meetings will always share that conduct of audit is one part, one phase of the audit. Converting that finding and the exercise of that audit which you have done for that particular day on 30th April 22 maybe into this format is another activity, another phase of the audit. Some auditors, they observed, they will do an excellent audit. They will do very good question answer session with the auditing. They will see the physical surrounding. But unfortunately, when it comes to writing of theirs into their draft format, they are not that good. They fail. We appreciate auditors to be in the audit side with their diary, with the document, the checklist, with the report format, draft, of course, so that they can keep on noting the things. The notes are the most important activity when you are conducting the actual audit in the client's workshop, factory, office, or school, college, hospital, whatever is the situation. Because ultimately, a very good audit, if not converted into a good report paper, has no value. With respect to audit management system, because if you have not reported, if you have not recorded what you have seen, what you have discussed, what you have verified, so how the client will understand what you have audited, how the certification body review team will understand what you have submitted to them, how the accreditation board will understand what audit has been done by certification body, how the key councils of quality council will understand what accreditation boards have done when they have done the audit. So recording into the various formats adequately, properly, as I have discussed, using the proper language, proper words is very, very important. Because once we have done with the top column, I am going to the next column where the non-conformity observed is recorded. Whatever we have seen, whatever we have noted as a draft report on our laptop, on our capsule, on our tablet, into a draft format, whatever is the way of your recording, it is acceptable to all systems of management system auditing, but then it needs to be converted into a situation here when you are writing. So first requirement is requirement itself. You cannot write a non-conformity without giving a reference of the requirement. And requirement comes from where? Requirement comes from standard. If we are conducting the audit of 9001 2015, So the requirement will take a reference of clause 7.4, which is referred into the ISO 9001:2015. An auditor is supposed to first write the requirement into the top portion of this column, so that he himself is clear, and he is not supposed to generally write something from much usage of his brain and mind. Auditor needs to travel between the lines of the requirement of the standard, the clauses, what is written to sub clauses. He may say or may write few points which sometimes may not refer the standard or clauses directly, but they may refer to the standard operating procedures of the company, standard marketing procedures of the company, sometimes customer specific requirements, sometimes statutory and regulatory requirements. So the reference will go likewise, and reference will start from the top column likewise, and the requirement will also be recorded here likewise, that here this is the requirement of a statutory or regulatory board, this is the requirement of the maybe the top management. When we are sometimes discussing the ABMS or 37,000 standard, this is the requirement of the governing body members at times coming from top management thoughts. So we record here what is the requirement of the standard here, and then we go into recording the next part, that is the evidence of non-conformity. Okay, what has been observed by us as an auditor. So my name is, I am the Mr. Sumit today, I am the auditor. So I am talking to whom? HR manager Mr. Shyam of the company. And these things are not as per the requirement which are listed above. There are 5 requirements, A to E. Each 5 requirements are spelled out in the clause 7.4 of 9001:2015. So Sumit had taken the reference of these 5 points, and then he went into discussion with HR manager Mr. Shyam. He had a checklist. Okay, auditing is not something which is done just like that. It is to be done by a trained and qualified auditor who will normally have a checklist. If he does not have a checklist, at least we expect him to have the copy of standard and copy of the draft report, so that he takes the reference of these things. Those are called the tools of the auditor. What are the tools of auditor? He will have the standard copy. He will have the previous report copy with him. Last audit done. If he is into stage 2 audit, stage 1 audit report is into his hands, even by the team leader before the start of the audit discuss with the team. And then he has the draft copy, rough copy, he has got the pen, pencil, he has got the laptop, tablets. Then he starts discussing these points as per the requirement with the audit team members. Once he had done those discussions, then he is going to write the evidences. No report is supposed to be available for effective management system audit which does not have evidence of non-conformity. Without evidence, non-conformity has got no value. If it does not have any value, it will not have a value-added audit. And we always believe auditors should conduct a value-added audit. So he takes different references. He takes the designation. He talks Mr. Shyam. He takes references of email circulars. The auditor, Mr. Sumit, takes the reference of fire safety policy, maybe of last year, something did not happen. Then he talks of interested party. Then he talks of evidence communication. Then he talks of blah blah, so many things, transporters, security contractors, and then a non-conformity is documented here into this format, which is called non-conformity evidence. More work can also be written, less can also be written, depending upon the capability of an auditor. There are some very senior auditors who will write very effective very effective evidence just in 2 lines. It depends upon their evidence capturing and evidences reporting and evidences recording capabilities, we call it. There are different kind of capabilities, and human being, when he is converted into an auditor, are available. So depending upon his capability, it is there. Some auditors would like to write many lines to explain to the clients. It is fine as long as he is satisfied and client is ready to accept it and he can understand the meaning of the lines. It is fine. It goes on as a part of the value addition activities, and we fall in love with this kind of an MC. Then what is done? Auditor signature. Auditor need to write his name, because this NC will be identified with the name of Mr. Sumit all the many years to come. I say all the many years to come because this report format, this NC record, will be reviewed by the peer committee assessment also, maybe after 9-10 years. I do not know, into the Australia or UK or US, because that time the accreditation of this particular board or this particular certification body is being reviewed. So it is important that me as an auditor, Sumit, is identified with respect to this particular NC 01 of year 22, month April, May, 34 to 1st May, as we have notified the date earlier at the top of this format. And when a person is going to sign the NC format a report, he is responsible for that. Signature means a lot when we talk of management system auditing. Signature is not just for the sake of signing. You put a googie onto it, yes, yes, I have signed it up. No, signing means you are making yourself responsible for that. You are making yourself committed for this requirement and the evidence of NC, and you make a statement that above statements have been authorized by me. I am the person who is making above statements. Then auditee acceptance. Unless the auditee Mr. Shyam has accepted the above 8-10 activities starting from NC number to the standard, this NC format cannot move further, and we have to keep this format moving. This format can move further and bring improvements only when activities are taking place as a sequence of the operation. They are not happening just like that. I have seen some auditors writing something on top, then they see something at the bottom. Please switch off your mic. Any gentleman whose mic is on, please switch it off because the meeting is getting disturbed. Please switch off your mic. अभी भी माइक ऑन है, किसी सज्जन पुरुष या महिला का अपना माइक ऑफ कर ले कृपया. So once the auditee, Mr. Shyam, so now the auditee is going to accept it. How he will accept it? He will accept it only when these activities are filled correctly and accurately. Okay, if these columns, these lines are not filled correctly and accurately, a knowledgeable auditee will not accept it. Many auditors I have seen practically, they will ask the auditor to Arey Saab, accept kar lo. Your stage 2 audit is going on, accept it. A knowledgeable auditee will not accept it because if he is also interested into value addition by utilization of this NC format, he will not accept it. Request the auditor. I have seen auditee requesting the auditor, sir, please write the full information into this format, then I will be very happy to accept it, because when I go to my manager, my MR, my coordinator or my top management to ask and request for them to take actions, they will ask me, sir, the top columns are not filled up, information is not complete. So how you have accepted it, Shyam, and why I will accept it? In this kind of a situation, the NC reports are not accepted by many companies. So if auditee is convinced by us, he accepts, yes, what is written again 7.4 clause, again the requirement of the standard, he is happy to go and move with the auditor, he accepts it. Once he accepts it, he also signs it. Okay, so he also takes the responsibility of that gap which has been identified by Mr. Sumit as an NC point. So now what happens? Mr. Shyam, auditee is supposed to conduct an activity which is called root cause analysis. Why the above requirement of standard has been missed out. As I have been discussing into part 1 and part 2 of this NC discussions, this activity normally needs to be done in a group. One single person, unless it is a very small, tiny organization of maybe 2-3 persons, supposed to conduct a group exercise, the cross-functional team, so that they really go into the root cause, the depth of the problem, and they understand why this miss has been there into their department or into their organization. So they discuss it out and then they record the root cause analysis. That is again to be accepted by the auditor. We have seen into practical auditing, root cause analysis was not clearly understood by auditor. But auditor has written it and things are going on. This form filling is on. But this form filling will not be in the positive direction of improvement by NC. So if auditor also accepts that why the miss was there, why the NC has been reported, documented at all, then they move further. Then what is the further action? Correction. We understood these concepts earlier, but again, just to brief, this is how the auditor will write that these are the corrections which I can do immediately, or maybe within few days, or maybe within few weeks, depending upon the NC. We cannot fix a time frame just like that. It will depend upon the nature of, since we have seen this is a minor non-conformity as we have seen above, this can be corrected faster as compared to major non-conformity. So he will give his commitment by writing that these are the actions I will take place so that this particular NC point can be taken into a mode of correction. Correction mode is active here and we start doing the correction. Once corrections are accepted by auditor, I always say needs to be conceptually accepted by auditor and auditor both. Then only we move on. So this is a slow process. This is a slow exercise. It cannot be done hurriedly. This form needs to be filled up with a lot of patience of the team members, not done fast. They know fast track action into filling out this format. Auditors take a lot of time when we are going to fill this, particularly new auditors. Then comes corrective action. We have done all the actions till corrections. So now, what is the corrective action as an organization, as a team members they are planning? That is further recorded here. So that similar type of non-conformities are also actioned upon. Similar nature of non-conformities are also taken care by the department or by the organization, and they write what is written here by the HR manager and team members. It is not only his department and see, other department will also take care. Okay, and in next internal audit also, they will again verify and take care of these things so that NCs are not taking birth again. Rebirth of NC is not taking place. Reoccurrence of NC is not taking place, technically speaking. So again, the corrective action plan needs to be accepted by the auditor, and he is also on the same wavelength, because if auditor and auditee are on same wavelength, then move is good. Move is good for the positive growth of the organization. Then what happens? They again take the responsibility by signing this format. So now here HR manager and team, because we have gone into corrective action mode, so many organization teams may be involved. So it is the HR manager and team is now taking the responsibility. And they have set different kind of proposed implementation date, because corrective action is not something which can happen immediately. It takes time. So few actions may be done on 2nd May, few actions may be completed on 5th May, few actions may be completed on 15th May. We do not appreciate those auditor and auditors who just write one set of date here. But there were three issues. When the NC was recorded, there were 5 requirements and 3 points have been noted by the auditor Sumi. So the action will also be 2 or 3, which has been said here. 1, 2, 3 actions are going to be taken place. When 3 types of actions are going to take place, it cannot be one common date. We don't want auditing team to jump and say, sir, everything will be done by 5th May. No, that is not correct. Number one, everything can never be done. It is something which is pertaining to these 3 points we are expecting. So we don't appreciate that kind of a language to be spoken by auditing and auditors. We also don't appreciate those kind of language to be recorded. We want it to be fixed with respect to the NC point and response, and date will also be respective to those points. Then it will be a good and positive actions. And then what happens? Corrective action plan is either accepted or rejected. Many times we have seen into the third party auditing and accreditation board auditing, corrective action plans are not accepted. They are rejected because they have not met the intentions of the MC. We have to see the intent of the auditor, intent of the auditee, and the intent of the NC language and the situation which had come across while the conduct of the audit. So if it is accepted, very good, we go on. If it is not accepted, rejected, then we again go up further and rewrite the above plans, and then it is accepted. Who is accepting it? Lead auditor and MR jointly will accept it. Once they have accepted it, implementation now will be done. The dates, it depends upon the auditor auditee. Sometimes they may verify on stages. 2nd May they make some verification, 5th May they make some verification, and 15th the final verification of this NC clause 7.4 of communication is completed. Once that is completed, then what happens? Assessment is done by lead auditor and MR further, or the auditor himself, depending upon the situation or depending upon the decision taken by the certification team or the client audit team. They verify it. Okay, as I said, something they verified on 30th and 1st May, something they verified on 15th May, and then they say closed or not closed. Sometimes it may not be closed, and they also need to write evidences of what all they have verified. When they are going for this closing cannot be just by the ticking it off. Yes, I have verified. That is not the correct way of verification done into this NC format. We need to write what evidence of trading they have seen, what verification of the communication they have seen, what internal audit file they have seen before closing it, what interview they have conducted before closing of this particular format. When that happens, finally it seems to be closed on 15/5/22. I have used the word seems to be have been closed because the further analysis and tracking will always be on. This is not the end of this exercise. Into further analysis and discussions of the organization, when they go for internal audit summary preparation, when they go for the management review conduct, they will be doing the analysis of this further closing actions and tracking it down into the other departments. So this is an ongoing process. The moment one NC situations have arisen, we go into this much of a discussion, and these are the efforts required by the auditor, auditee, organizational team members, top management, and so on. So Apur, now the team can have some questions because this is very important that we stop here and we understand this form filling. I would like some questions to be there. If they are there, if they are not there, then you move on as per your plan. Apur.
I would request the participants that they can now please ask questions regarding the topic which we discussed today, if they have any.
Hello, sir. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah. Sir, I want to know about more the latest developments in the sector of ISO industry and other things which we are discussing, as well as main topic was also covered. Uh, what about the say PIMS scope in the future and how it will be more and more coming in coming days, sir? And how it is relevant for all of us?
I do not know. You have asked so many questions. I will try to reply them one by one if I have been able to capture them well. Number one, ISO, as I said in the beginning, ISO annual meeting is going on today in Dubai. And ISO is always very active into development of all standards all the time. All clauses, all sub clauses are being discussed all the time by the various ISO committees, going to the IAF levels and various committees, and their peer committees and peer assessment and their various subcommittees who are working continuously on this. With respect to this topic, NC, this is something which is very relevant to us for many years. I would say many decades, from the day we have started conducting training and audits from 1990s. I would say that is the time when I and my team has started conducting audits and awareness courses. NC has been a topic of interest for everybody, and it will always remain a topic of interest for entire life of ISO in coming many years and all the time to see, because this is something which is for value addition, which is there for to see that yes, ISO management systems are being implemented and being active by involving all the ISO community globally. And we also see that by utilization of these standards, the SDG is being taken into very effectively by the global community. Sustainable Development Goals. Today also in ISO meeting in Dubai, the SDG is one of the focus area they are developing it. And in time to come, as we are going for more and more digitization, standards like 27,000 and 27701, as you asked, the PIMS, these standards are going to have very good future, and they will see that organizational improvements are being directly seen into the organizational functioning and then into the confidentiality, secrecy, and control of the documentation of the individuals as well. I hope I have replied all your 4 or 5 question points.
Thanks a lot.
Hello,
Anji, yeah.
sir. Does a corrective action required for each non-conformance during the audit?
Yes, we appreciate that. We don't like, the auditor or auditor to say, yes, all has been done, or NC 1 to 5 had been closed. Then we lose the focus. We should be focusing on each and every NC. We should be focusing on each and NC points and sub points. Then only the improvement comes. Many organizations we have seen, they will say, yes, we will take action on all of them. And auditor accepts also. We don't appreciate that. We want each and every, because each and every word of standard, each and every line of NC is equally important. Each and every, to that extent, the observation point raised by auditors is important, because that may become a potential non-conformity in future to come. So focusing on each and every point, word, NC is appreciated.
Yeah. Sir, one more question.
Yeah.
If internal audit is not conducted as per standard requirement, it's a major NC or minor NC?
There can be 2, 3, or 4 kind of a situation, Mr. Questioning person. What happens? It depends upon what you have seen actually into the auditing. When I am able to complete the audit on 1st May, me and my team into the company was there for on 30th and 1st, 2 days. Our 3 auditors were there. We have seen the entire organization, we have seen the functioning well, and other than internal audit records or internal audit conduct, all other situations are under control. Means they may have conducted the reviews into various departments, but they may not have recorded it as an internal audit function. But organization is under a situation of control. No customer complaint has come, no internal customer complaint, no final customer complaint has come, no concern has been raised. So even if the internal audit is not on record as a system, we may treat it as a minor non-conformity. Similar situation, our two auditors were there for 2 days. They have been into the organization, seen many things, many situations, and they find things are not under control. And internal audit also not done, also not recorded. So we may say this is a major non-conformity. So it purely depends upon intent of the auditor, intent of the auditee, the situation which we have come across, and the commitment of the client, which we have seen by way of the documentation, by way of expressions, by way of it showing us other documentation which may not be directly a part of the 9.2, 9.2.1 clause, but yes, their intentions are the same. Okay.
Sir, one more question. Whether there is a impartiality committee which is required, it was earlier there was a impartiality committee which was mandatory, but nowadays it's not mandatory to conduct the impartiality committee meeting in every year.
Very sorry, Ajit. This question I will not. This is not at all relevant to this particular clause and discussion, and this is not relevant to many of the participants also. So I will not answer this. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, good morning, Akanksha this side. Sir, I just need to know the report you have shared. The responsibilities are not defined for this correction and corrective action. So, is it necessary to define the responsibilities, like who is going to train the HR manager and like?
Madam, HR manager is responsibility, na? And other team members are responsible. But this report is only to explain you. This is not a real, report
No,
of
I'm
any
just
company or
asking.
anything. But here also the responsibility is who? Who is responsible for this? HR manager is responsible for this, and HR manager team is saying responsibility. So why you have said it is not defined? First of all.
No. It's like HR manager is himself responsible for the non-conformity. So just my question was, do we have to assign some other person for this correction part, or like how will it go?
It will purely depend upon what auditee wants or what he thinks is right in his perspective with respect to his organization. If he feels only he and his team is responsible, he says that. If NC requirement was to involve inspection team also, then he would have said that. If there was a requirement to involve top management also, then he could have written that, and that could have been accepted by auditor also. It depends upon his requirement and what is the requirement of the non-conformity, right?
Okay. And in few reports, like it is necessary to mention like who is responsible for correction and then who is responsible for corrective action. But I've seen that in few of the reports, NC reports of the.
It is good to specify as much as possible, because then when we are going for the closing of that NC, then we can ask and refer the respective person who is responsible for that. Otherwise, to whom we will ask, with whom we will verify. So it is good to specify as much as possible.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Any other question? Anybody raise hands anywhere, Apurv?
No, sir, I guess none of the participants has put their questions in the chat box. I would again request the remaining participants, if they have any other questions, they can please ask. If the participants do not have any questions as of now, I would request them that this particular webinar will be posted on our YouTube channel known as TNV Academy. So if you have any sort of queries in future regarding the topic which was discussed today, you can simply put your questions in the comment section of the video, and we will be forwarding those questions to Mr. Ajay Bajpai, and he will be providing all the solutions and answers to your questions and queries always. So we can now come to the conclusion of this particular session. I would say that the context of this particular webinar, as this was the third session of this particular topic, non-conformity and report writing. So Mr. Ajay Bajpai has taken forward this particular concept and context very well, because it's a very competitive and confusing topic in terms of ISO management system standards. So I guess that all the participants have been benefited. What was shared was the sheer knowledge of Mr. Ajay Bajpai on the topic itself. And I would thank Mr. Ajay Bajpai for giving his valuable time and effort in explaining such a complex topic and issue which was in discussion from past few webinars. I thank all the participants as well for taking out their valuable time from their busy schedule, and we will be keep sending you the request and links of these webinars in future as well. So I would request that as and when you are free, you can join these particular webinars. Thank you for all your questions, and I wish that all the questions has been answered successfully by Mr. Ajay Bajpai as well. As I said, if you have more questions, you can simply put them in the comment section of the video. I thank you all of you on behalf of TNV Academy for being such a wonderful integral part of this webinar, and I wish to see you all again soon with an exciting new topic. Till then, it's best wishes from TNV Academy from my side. Thank you so much for your participation.
Thank you. And next topic will in continuation of the MC Part 4. Okay, so we'll continue with the same topic. That is very important to understand further onto this topic. Thank you. Bye.
Sure, sir. Thank you so much.